Well, I didn't start vocalizing until I was about 4 years old. And when I started, I stammered.
I have an 8-year-old, I have a 6-year-old, and I have a 2-year-old. At times, if I express myself and I don't come out clearly, they don't understand, so they laugh at me.
It was my grandfather who told me about it, because they think it's an abominable something. So therefore, those days, their mothers will, when it's raining, they will just go and fetch some of the running water and put it down for it to settle, so that they'll give to the child or whosoever is involved in that to drink. And just after that, you'll be fine.
Stammering is a communication disorder. It's a speech disorder, to be precise. And stammering is made up of involuntary speech, which is characterized by repetitions, prolongations, sometimes what we call blocking. And that would be, you'll be talking and then like that. You see, there was a long pause, or what seemed to be a long pause, before you get the word out.
Some of my earliest memories of myself had to do with trying to speak and not being able to speak, and being extremely frustrated because I just couldn't verbalize what my thoughts, what was in my thoughts.
Basically, just growing up as a stammering child was quite difficult. And when I was about 3.5 years old, my mom realized I couldn't talk as a normal child of that age should talk. So she arranged for me to see a pediatrician. Then I was just then diagnosed that I was a stammerer.
We woke up, and I believe that was the day that Nana started stammering, and it came to my attention. Because prior to that, I thought he was quite fluent in his speech. He's not as wordy as his sister, but he was forming sentences without there being any stammering in it. So I was a bit alarmed, but I thought, okay, let me wait a couple of days to see how it goes. And it didn't improve. And the more we tried to correct him, the more he refused to talk, and then he would cover his mouth. So we began to realize that correcting him wasn't the way to go.
I'm told when I don't know what age, but it was, maybe up to 5 or something, or maybe earlier. I was taken to see a horror film. And one of my parents traced the beginning of my stammer to the fright I had from that film.
I never felt that people outside of my family or society was ready to have the patience to deal with the fact that I would maybe take a minute or 2 minutes to say a word. Actually, my parents told me that for a very long time, growing up, they thought I was mute. I started talking at age 5.
At a certain point in my late teens, the worst thing that could happen to me was to hear the telephone ring. Now, when the telephone rang, and you had to pick it up and say, hello. By the time you could say sometimes hello, the person had put the phone down, because I couldn't say hello. So that got me angry.
teachers and other professionals and many professionals are also Ghanaian. They're Ghanaians and they're recruited from this culture. And so if the training that they have does not understand or does not include some of the things we're talking about, like communication and maybe people who stammer and the difficulties they may have, then they will go and become teachers and do just what the culture expects them to do. And in this culture, people make fun of people who stammer.
In high school, we used to have this thing that we read in turns, in class. And then, so we all have a storybook. Then you play this part, you play this part, and I'll play this part. And then you go to a time, it's not my turn to read. Everyone is reading like this, read, this read, this read. Then you bet, it gets to you, then words don't even come out. And then there are words that you'll be repeating, and then you hear your colleagues laugh.
I just remembered an incident in secondary school when a replacement teacher came into the classroom and asked me a question, or asked a question which I answered, and he said, "Stop doing that," thinking I was pretending to stammer.
So he asked me to go to the board. I told him I wouldn't, and I can't. And he said why. I said I couldn't explain what I had written. So, and I told him I was a stammerer and I couldn't speak. So I actually started crying because he was worrying me.
For me, the pain of stammering was more than what the kids would do. It was just that I just couldn't speak, and I'll struggle.
Some ministries, departments, and agencies had to make presentations. He said one of the guys from a ministry stammered very badly, but he was trying to say something. That it wasn't coming. Then the guy I was speaking to, he said, then the microphone left him. I said, what do you mean the microphone left him? It walked? He said, he found some way to say that. My interpretation, the stammer was so bad, nothing was coming out, that somebody took the microphone from the guy.
Sometimes I'll pretend I'm sick and put my head on the table, or I'll cry to just make something up not to talk that day, because it's just, that you're going to stammer.
Maybe I might know the answer to the question. I just won't listen. Because I can tell that if I raise my hand and the chair says Ace, I'm not going to be able to speak.
It took me 45 minutes to be able to explain a little diagram on demand and supply chain, a diagram.
On those rare occasions that I put up my hand, the teacher would tell the class, quiet, because the teacher would know that if I was asking a question, it must be very important, because if it wasn't important, there's no way I would lift up my hand.
I think it was when I decided that I wanted to become a lawyer, which must have been in Form 3, I must have been 14. And then by that time, I was pretty certain that this was what I wanted to become. Actually, I concluded at that age that is all I could become. And so I had to work hard at all aspects of my life.
Normally, if it is at a place where I cannot speak to the person, tell him or her to just give me some room to speak at my own pace, normally I will ignore the person. Then when the time is appropriate, I will approach you and tell you that maybe I couldn't speak as fast as they expected because I am a stammerer, and then they would then understand me. But most of the time I just ignore them.
What people do not realize is that the jokes hurt. You know, you watch sitcom on TV and the comedian gets up there and he makes a joke imitating stammerers, and the whole room has people laughing. And you know that you are not the one standing on the stage, but you are the one they're laughing at.
To be a lawyer when you're a stammerer is counterintuitive. But surprisingly, when I became a lawyer, I found that many lawyers stammer. And how do they deal with it? They behave like actors. Because law can be like acting. They think they're performing a role. So they get out of themselves and they pretend, they act. And that acting process can sometimes make you overcome the stammering.
When people laugh at you, just ignore them. Because if you say you are going to fight, you will fight everybody, because people will laugh at you. For that one, this I have to be very honest. People will laugh at you, and some people, they can be very horrible. But just ignore them and make a conscious effort. If you need to speak slowly, do so. If you need to calm yourself, if you are angry, you calm yourself. And when it's not necessary to talk to, don't talk.
Sometimes, like when you are anxious, that's you would not stammer. You would even stammer more. But you know, when you are relaxed whilst speaking, you would even get to know that the stammering isn't even as severe as you even thought. Yes. So, you know, after school tech, I was tired of stammering. I just wanted to get over it. So I, you know, searched for help. I wasn't getting any help. And I was like, okay, fine. You know, maybe if we don't have any group taking care of the needs of persons who stammer, then I can be that help myself and then help others who stammer.
I think what has happened is that our society has changed. Right. Whereas before we all lived in close proximity, we are now very different. And people don't have that kind of fellow feeling. We don't feel that we all belong to the same area. So people are strangers. And I think that has an effect. I don't know, but I think if one starts with a family, the family giving full support, that is more than halfway, I think.
I am Nike Bensienchel. I'm an editor and I stammer.
My name is Eisam Kuma. I'm a lawyer and I stammer.
My name is Abena Asafweji Nkrumah. I work at National Accreditation Board and I stammer.
My name is John Ampia Addison and I stammer.
I'm a stammerer. I've always been a stammerer and will be a stammerer till I die. But it doesn't stop me from living.
For people with a communication disorder, I would like to say, if you're an older person, be yourself. Be yourself, and don't try to please people around you. Just be yourself. And for parents, especially, or people who do not have a communication disorder, I would say that I have a song that we sing in Awawa too. I think I would like to, I might just sing that song. We say that in Awawa too, we have a song, we say, embrace and give a hug, a little of your time, and just embrace somebody who has a communication disorder. Find out about how their life is like and what you can do to ease things up for somebody who has a communication disorder. We say, embrace and give a hug, a little of your time, awa, atu, awa, 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 atu, 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 awa, atu.